our conversation today because I am going to record that thing on Monday to just like share with people. So I'm not trying to be creepy. I just want, I've never like had to get it later and send it to someone. So I'm just kind of making sure I know how to do that. And then I can share my screen on there too, so that we can change it in the Google Drive. If it's okay, when we start that day, I'd love to just introduce you both, and then everything that happens after that is totally up to you. And if we need to remove whole slides while we do this, that's fine too.
Did you say Monday or Tuesday?
I'm sorry, it is Tuesday. I just get so excited. I'm just so excited. Okay, it is Tuesday at 10 o'clock, right?
That Eastern time, right?
Yes, yes. Okay, can you see it now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So, okay, and can both of you say your last names for me?
I'm Emily Robison. So it's like Robinson, but there's no N in the middle, is what I always tell people. Robison.
And my last name is Borrero.
Perfect. Okay.
Borrero.
I really had those both right, but I just like to make sure.
Good plan.
Okay. Okay, so I'll just like introduce you on this slide, kind of explain that we're going to be doing this every month with different topics, and then I'll stop right after that. And we can go there.
Now, for this slide, Indiana's Community College, is that what you prefer, or Ivy Tech Community College?
I can change it to Ivy Tech. Yeah,
okay.
That's fine. There must have been some commercial years ago that made that like stick in my head. I don't know why I even.
It's essentially the Indiana's community college system. It's other than Vincennes, this is where students can go. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So okay, so let's just say, for example, so all right, it looks like I'm going first, at least because it's slide 2. So should I just briefly touch base on, the benefits of attending Ivy Tech Community College? It's very affordable. The classroom sizes, just basically kind of tippy tap around each little bullet point. But obviously, and there's a total of 10 slides. 10 slides. So I could spend like maybe just scratching the surface with this bullet point, and as far as talking about the TJEC and the TSAP, and then maybe spend, like I said, just spend like 2 minutes on this or so, and then
that sounds great.
Okay, and then I guess we can go to page 3 and
and so this
is more Emily's, right?
For me to discuss.
Emily,
so yeah.
I think this would be your slide.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So 4-year schools, admission and scholarship consideration. Kind of noting the difference. And Pam, I guess I could talk specifically. I mean, my only hands-on experience has been with Butler in terms of admission, first year and transfer admission. So I can just preface it by saying too that 4-year schools have different requirements, but at Butler it's this, but just know that for most 4-year schools, there's going to be a difference between applying as a first-year student and applying as a transfer student, and also scholarship consideration as a first-year, scholarship consideration as transfer.
Sure.
And so talking about GPA in college versus high school GPA, typically, probably most students may do better with a first-year scholarship based on their high school GPA, but that's not always the case. So if a student's high school GPA isn't quite high, you know, where they want it to be in terms of admission or financial aid or scholarship consideration as a first year, they may have that opportunity then to earn credits at Ivy Tech, build up that GPA, and have a better opportunity for admission and scholarship as a transfer student. C or better, yep. And again, I can throw in there that, as Ferdinand mentioned, that at state schools, that C requirement may be different. At Butler, it's a C requirement for those credits to transfer. Maximum number of credits that can transfer. Yeah, any special requirements for specialized programs, again, depending upon the four-year school, depending upon the program, you may have an overall requirement when it comes to admission and scholarship as a transfer student, but be on the lookout and ask questions of your four-year school if there are going to be any special requirements or higher GPA, prerequisites, that kind of thing for any specialized programs.
Awesome.
Okay. I think that those bullet points are fine by me.
Okay. Now, let me ask this question. I don't mind having my background. This is the Zoom thing. Is it too distracting to have the beach behind me?
Never. These people are in a school building when they're watching this. They want to see your beach. Go for it.
All right, good, good. Sorry, I didn't mean to be distracting. I don't want to be distracting, but also don't want people to see my lunch behind me.
Looks good, looks good.
Okay. Okay, so we can dive into both of these together. Obviously, you know, and all this, these are Indiana high schools, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so
that's our target audience.
Okay, so all of our the audience will be Indiana residents versus, hey,
yes.
This is going out to another state. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, we can, you know, right there it's pretty self-explanatory. The cost of attendance for regular programs, the cost is right there. And you took this screenshot, I believe, from our website, right, Pam?
Sure did. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Just all kinds of copyright infringement things happening here.
It's all for a good cause here. And Pam, I apologize. I meant to look at it before we started our meeting, and today has just completely gotten away from me. The transfer credit evaluations that you're sharing, that particular form, we have several of them on our webpage, so I was just trying to see which, do you know if that was for the core curriculum?
Yes, that was the core one.
Perfect. I mean, I don't know that anybody will be able to see
Sure.
all of that in detail, but if we're going to show them something, I think the core is the best option. Although I would stress that, you know, what we're showing you here for the Butler graphic is the core equivalency. So it's showing here are Ivy Tech courses that we know will count in exactly this way when a student transfers to Butler toward the core curriculum. There are other equivalencies on our webpage for students that also want to look at that same information for Lacey School of Business and College of Education and some specific degree programs in liberal arts and sciences, but core is always a great place to start is what I tell transfer students. So.
If you wouldn't mind mentioning too, just that like, they just type in like transfer credit equivalencies on various colleges' websites, like they'll typically always find something like this. So like don't know what to look for. So if they can just know that that's what it's called, and they can search for it or pick up the phone and say, hey, can I see your transfer credit equivalencies for Ivy Tech or for IU Bloomington or for,
it may be getting into the weeds a bit. Maybe we don't want to do this, but I would throw out in our meeting here something that's even more formal and locked in are articulation agreements. So they may find either articulation agreements or credit equivalencies on four-year school websites. For us at Butler, we've worked on it for a long time. We're just not there yet, but particularly I would say for state schools, they might be able to find that information if they call it transfer credit equivalencies, but if they don't, they may see the term articulation agreement. It's essentially the same thing. But
great.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
And Emily, this is probably a screen that, since you don't have open access or it's not open enrollment, perhaps maybe you can, I can touch on the open admissions part, but maybe you can, because this is more kind of pertaining to four-year schools.
Okay, sure. Yeah, happy to talk about that. So after or while a student is attending Ivy Tech, once they have that plan in mind, am I going to spend a year at Ivy Tech? Am I going to spend 2 years at Ivy Tech? Whatever they decide upon with that plan. Application fees, the good news at Butler is there are no application fees. Again, it may differ for other institutions, but it's a good question for the student to ask when they're looking at four-year schools. What are your application fees? At Butler, we don't have any. So completing the applications by those recommended dates. If it's possible, you might want to switch final high school transcript and November 1 and June 1, just because the dates in that other bubble, we're talking about those dates. So, and again.
So move the actual bubble, switch them with each other?
Yeah, I mean, either the content in each of those bubbles, if they were switched.
Yeah, perfect.
Or if it's easier to switch the bubble itself.
Sure.
But yeah, completing the application, have those dates in mind so that you're planning ahead. I need to, and I always try and stress that it's different. There's a difference between submitting the application and completing the application.
Right.
You can submit it anytime, super fast, type in your name, what school you attend, address, email, phone number, all that stuff, submit. Great, you're not done, but we've got your application. So in order to complete it then, we're gonna need that final high school transcript. Now, you know what, we've changed our requirement. It gets a little messy. I think what I would, if it's possible to either add or change that final high school transcript bubble, sorry, official college transcript. If the student plans on attending Ivy Tech, spending a year or two, if they're going to earn more than 20 credit hours, they don't even need their final high school transcript as part of the application. We use it for enrollment if they decide, yes, final high school transcript, if admitted or if enrolling is kind of how I might phrase that. And again, this is specific to Butler, but those are the kinds of questions that students need to ask of the four-year school.
Yeah.
Definitely every four-year school is going to need that official Ivy Tech transcript. And if this session is we're talking specifically about Ivy Tech, you could even say official Ivy Tech transcript instead of official college transcript, just so they know that's going to be required at any four-year school that they attend. Some may require the final high school transcript, some may not. We only need it at enrollment, so those kinds of things may vary, but every transfer student's going to need to submit that official college transcript or official Ivy Tech transcript.
So my question is, should we put in there, because these are high school students, anything about dual credit? because students, well, I'm sure in all of our areas, like for example, Bloomington High School North and Bloomington High School South, and other schools around this area, they have agreements with Indiana University, Vincennes, ISU, and they're taking dual credit classes. So whenever, when they come to us, that's one of my first questions to brand new students is I ask them, okay, do you have any dual credit classes? Oh, you do? You have them from VU, ISU, IU Bloomington? Great. Have them send us your official transcripts so that you can start getting credit for these classes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe I'll just leave it as college, and then that can mean the Ivy
That's totally fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of them do have. I think off the top of my head, I think it's safe for me to say that most transfer applicants that I see have more than one college transcript because of dual credit or because they've transferred previously. So yeah, that's fine. We can leave it at that. And if we need to, either at this point in the application process or on that earlier slide where we talk about transfer basics, if I need to, again, from the Butler perspective and qualify it for other four-year schools, define what a transfer student is. At Butler, you're a transfer student if you complete 12 credit hours or more after high school graduation. There are lots of high school students that earn dual credit, and that's great, and we accept the dual credit, but we don't want them to apply as a transfer student. We want them to apply as a first-year student.
Maybe if I add it back here, does that make sense?
Yeah, what is a transfer student? Sure.
Okay. Oh, bold. Okay.
Perfect. And then that will make more sense with the application process. Obviously, you're going to select the transfer application. You're going to pay attention to these dates. You're going to send in your official college transcripts. At some point, we may require that final high school transcript. You come to Butler. And then, yeah, and that final bullet point, Ferdinand, if you and I want to talk about the difference between open admission and selective admission.
Sure, okay. And we can dive into that. Like that could be more of the meat and potatoes. That would be my contribution to this slide. Because,
okay.
Because it gives us more, you know, because we have open admissions, you know, we don't necessarily have the due dates and application dates and application fees. It's a free application on our end. But yes, so that'll be my cue to kind of, all right, let me dive into the open admissions.
Perfect.
Pam, this slide right here, do we think that maybe this could be towards the back? And I'm okay with it leaving it here. I was just wondering, it seems like that kind of slightly breaks up a little bit of our flow, possibly.
Yep.
You did it. Looks good.
Yeah, but do we want it there or there?
Yes. I think
right before the contact us. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So then application process and goes into planning ahead.
And Pam, I like how you said work backwards. Now we may want to, that may not make sense to, it makes perfect sense to me, but from someone else, high school guidance counselor, what does that mean? But I guess this could be my opportunity to kind of speak into this one. But go ahead.
Yes, I would love that. I would love it.
It says, you know, work backward in terms of talking to the student. What's your goal? You know, what do you want to do? Do you have a particular profession in mind? Do you have what's that after graduation goal? Okay, then that helps us as a 2-year school and a 4-year school map out. Okay, then that means we need to set you on this pathway to get you to that, what your final goal is. And
it really can help the high school counselors too. But whatever you said the other day, Ferdinand, I thought was like so insightful. If you could just replay a video or a recording of whatever you said the other day in our meeting.
Oh gosh, I talk so much. But I maybe at the back of this, it says work backwards, i.e. what is your end goal? Where do you want to end up being at? because working backwards, well, I mean, you can walk backwards. And educational goal, or maybe, I don't know what I want to say here. Maybe this is completely fine. I don't want to get too much into the weeds also. I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah, I like end goal, and then wherever you end up taking it it's flexible to, see how the conversation has gone so far, and then add in what you feel like you need there. Is fine with me. But if you want me to add something more specific, I can.
I think that's fine. Like, work backwards and like basically what's your end goal, and then identify where you want to go. And once you've identified that, then let's figure out what classes you need for that goal and how you can get that accomplished here within Ivy Tech. And then treat going to Ivy Tech as you're a student at Butler. Like, if you can identify and obtain that curriculum for the degree that you want to pursue, well, let's look at the 100 and 200 level classes, how we can help that student. If it says they need Psych 101 on their curriculum, whatever degree that is, then, let's identify what that Psych 101 is here, and just basically, okay, let's take Psych 101 because Butler's saying that you need to take that. Is that?
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to throw in there was in the second bullet point where we talk about structuring your coursework at your first institution so you will have the proper prereqs taken care of when you arrive at your transfer institution. Part of that planning ahead is either using course equivalencies or articulation agreements, reaching out to that four-year school. It is the four-year school that determines how Ivy Tech credits transfer. It's not Ivy Tech that is telling you how those credits are going to transfer to four-year school. The four-year school has to work with Ivy Tech to say, okay, we've determined that these courses at Ivy Tech are equivalent to these courses at Butler, but that the four-year school is the one that sets whatever those requirements might be. So make sure that conversation, either you're reaching out and communicating with somebody directly at that four-year school, or you're using their website to find those articulation agreements or course equivalencies that clarify for you what courses I need to talk to my advisor at Ivy Tech about taking, because my end goal is to go to Butler in psychology or something like that.
Sure.
Because also, because the path is pretty clear if they're pursuing the TSAP degree. But also, like I said, IU has a specific landing page that says, okay, sure, we'll take your TSAP. However, there's a finer line that they have to navigate through for specific requirements that IU is looking for, that maybe a different school is not really kind of too particular with.
Right.
Sure.
So sorry, that's kind of muddying the waters here.
No, that's good.
That's part of that planning ahead. So yeah, I think that fits perfectly on that slide.
So I guess here is my page that I can dive in very deep. Thank you for posting that the link there, because that is a very valuable link. But that's just, and again, of course, not to have word vomit all over the screen. I think this little screenshot that you took is very important, because yes, really, like I said before, those last two bullet points on the quick links provides all the information that transfers to junior FAQs. So that is something that, perhaps like guidance counselors, that would be very beneficial to inform their students that, hey, there are opportunities, and let's look at these frequently asked questions, because if you haven't had a chance to digest and dive into that yet, it's pretty detailed. Now, again, a lot of it was setting up things for because this was set up back in 2014, and a lot of the stuff is, I haven't read it lately, but a lot of the stuff is based on like, oh, what about those students that had just taken classes, and how does that interface with their current courses? But the students now, this is 6 years later, you know, they were just in middle school. They weren't taking, so that's a good thing, you know, that they're not going to be too tied into some of the things that it may prevent them from being eligible for certain classes. So the good thing is, this is some of the things that just they don't need to really worry about for the most part.
Sure.
And the tests is also another valuable resource to identify how classes can, again, that specific link is tailor-made from the Ivy Tech point of view. Like, okay, how our classes transfer to all these other schools, not how does Butler, how do classes from Butler transfer to IUPUI? It's not that way. It goes from Ivy Tech to those schools,
Mm-hmm.
and those schools to Ivy Tech, not necessarily ISU to IUPUI, that type of thing.
Sure. Okay.
And this is something we can both touch on, you know, due to COVID-19, this is the link about, this is the information that students need to kind of monitor frequently based on the spread of the virus. This is a very fluid link, meaning it can change tomorrow, this afternoon, depending on what the government says, and, you know, different local laws and what, you know, the counties are just dictating as far as like, okay, we're shutting things down, or hey, we're adding more classes, face-to-face classes. So, you know, that's kind of up-to-date information.
Yeah. So how does that work with open enrollment and the idea that, yeah, like you have to, if students suddenly decide, oh, I'm not leaving for the University of Alabama tomorrow, I'm going to sign up for classes at Ivy Tech. Do you then have to tell people like you have to wait till next semester, or do you just add more faculty? Like, how does it work?
What do you mean again?
Like this fall, for example, if a bunch of students decided, oh, because of COVID-19, I'm not going to school. I would rather take courses at Ivy Tech and stay here until the classes on my intended campus are back to in person, and you have like hundreds of people try to sign up for Ivy Tech at the last minute. Does Ivy Tech tell people, hey, we're full? Like, are you ever full and can't take more people? Or do you just add more sections of things?
Okay, so let's get to the last question first. It's the easier one. Depending on how, now I can almost guarantee you that, again, I'm not part of this group. It's more faculty, academic affairs. However, if classes started Monday, the fall semester started Monday, and if there's no sections available right now, because I can't see the college opening up sections at the last minute, just for the logistics of it, faculty, who's going to teach it, you know, getting the books, all these other factors that are involved. I can see the college saying, hey, we're having our Psych 101 classes are filling up, or they're all full. Well, and if we know that there's more students in the pipeline wanting to take a Psychology 101 class, we would more than likely open up some new sections in the second 8 weeks. Because over the last couple of years, like 2 years, Ivy Tech has really moved from a lot of 16-week courses to a lot of 8-week courses.
Okay, good, yeah.
And I think that maybe something that I probably should add somewhere in this, like 16-week classes versus 8. Because I think that is something that I just realized that we're missing somewhere in this presentation.
And this it might be a good place to do it. It might fit in here, just as we're talking about flexibility and demand and all that stuff.
And yes, but I'm afraid that I may miss talking about this if
Sure.
I don't see it on my screen somewhere alluding me to like, oh yeah, you got to talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't mind where it is. I just don't want to lose that because
Yeah.
that's kind of really important to know.
Let's
I'm
see.
so old school. I'm going to have handwritten notes. Trust me on all this stuff. I want to make sure you see this, and yeah.
What about on slide 2?
Yeah, maybe 16, 8-week, maybe method of instruction, such as, yes, so 16-week method of instruction, like, and more like, let me, hold on, Pam, right, 1 second, method of instruction, face-to-face, virtual, you may want to, yes, face-to-face, virtual, and then you can put i.e. Zoom, you know what I mean, because that's a Zoom thing. Hybrid, which is face-to-face and online, and completely online, just online completely. I think that, because I think that's kind of important for high school counselors to know, at least so they can relate, like, oh, because what if we have a student that is probably should be social distancing for, you know, health reasons. We do want to kind of let them know that we do have virtual classes.
Sure.
And also dovetailing into the 16-week options available, 8-week options are available too. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's great.
Okay. So that I can spend, because this is kind of my, well, it is my slide, and this will kind of, and again, I can probably easily spend 20 minutes talking about this page in itself, but I'll try to be mindful and water it down.
Then we'll be like, okay, thanks for coming.
Yes.
Well, and
No, slide 1.
The attendees, I assume, will be able to save this PowerPoint.
Yeah, yes. When I'll send out the recording and I'll send out the PowerPoint itself.
So yeah, they can always refer back to that and scour it later.
Okay. And then our contact info. So if you each, like, I don't know if you want to say something on this slide, or if I just want to say, if you have questions, you know, here's how you get a hold of us. And then I have to put in a plug for our committee because my time as co-chair is going to be up with Indiana ACAC. So I have to recruit someone to take my spot by secretly recruiting them to just join the committee first. But then this last slide, slide 10, that was all the stuff you sent me, Emily, and I just didn't know. Like, do we want to add any of that in, or do we feel like not having so much text works better and you can just
I mean, I think we definitely have the application deadlines already in there. And we talk about the course equivalencies. I mean, on that page, if we want to drop that link in on whatever page that was, that's fine. And then the COVID, again, that you shared the link for our COVID related language. So if they click on that link, they're going to get that. They're going to see that information.
Sure. Okay, so maybe I'll just delete the slide.
Yeah.
Delete. Okay. Yeah. Anything else that you feel like once we've gone through that we're missing that's important?
What I'm wondering, yes, I don't mind having my contact info there. What I'm wondering is, I'm just kind of talking out loud. We do have a link, because this is kind of almost slightly a little bit of an admissions thing, and I don't mind talking about transfer also. I wonder, and I'm just kind of thinking out loud, I wonder if we need to incorporate at like the BL info at ivytech.edu, which goes to the admissions team.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know. I'm just kind of, because I don't want to get bombarded with 50 emails.
Or I thought too, if there's the transfer admission webpage, either an email address or a web page, a landing page that they can, for
I
both
don't,
of us,
yeah, okay,
if there's room.
bigger and say, and make this smaller. Um,
I really don't know what I want to say. So
no, I think that's good because yeah, we don't want everyone who has kids interested in Butler calling Emily and everyone who has kids interested in any Ivy Tech calling you. So let's do this. How big is this? 920, 19.
let me do this also. Let me just see if like admissions, what they like apply now. And what does it say? Let's see. Now, and so maybe what I did, I went to our website, and then to the very top right corner is the little hamburger menu.
Okay.
And then just, so go to ivytech.edu, okay, and then the little hamburger menu to the top right corner, click on that, and then how to enroll is one of the options there. And then it says how to enroll degree seeking, click on that. Yeah. And then that takes you on how to enroll. And I'm not asking you to add all this, I'm just kind of talking out loud. But there's a lot of information on how to enroll.
Yeah.
But then at the bottom, now again, I don't know if we're promoting our individual campuses. Like obviously I work at Bloomington. Is this, you know, are we promoting the Bloomington campus or Ivy Tech in general? Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to figure out my space in this area.
These are going to be high school guidance counselors from all over the state, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so there may be various Ivy Tech campuses that they're more likely to have students attend.
And the reason why I just thought of this is because when I went to this page on this, you know, how to enroll, if you scroll down to the bottom, it often gives you a chance to select a campus. And
yeah.
I just clicked on Bloomington, and then it just reminded me about the Hoosier Link program that's a partnership with Ivy Tech and IU. Ivy Tech Bloomington and Ivy Tech, Indiana University Bloomington. And I don't know if that's something that we can, again, that's adding another layer to this and perhaps maybe even adding it somewhere, but I don't know if we want to do that. But again, it's just, when you clicked on the Bloomington thing, I just saw it reminded me of the Hoosier Link thing. Because that's a program that any student from anywhere within the state of Indiana can, you know, participate in or apply for.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's something that we want to talk about or not.
Can they apply for it? I feel like they always tell me you can recommend someone, but we choose who we offer it to.
When you say we, you meaning the high schools or we as in IU?
Sorry, meaning IU Bloomington.
You can always make a recommendation, but I believe students typically just apply, you know, they basically say, hey, I'm interested in it. And then they go through the process of, like, if it's a good problem of they have 500 students interested in it, then they obviously, it depends on how many rooms they have available. It depends on how much space they have within that program to afford to say, okay, we only have 100 spots. We're going to take the top 100 students based on the whole high school criteria. But yes, ultimately IU does make the decision, and I believe that's in partnership with maybe some folks from here at Ivy Tech in Bloomington.
Oh, okay.
Now, and again, I don't want to, not sure if I really want to talk about this, because again, this whole Who's Your Link thing, it's another 3-hour conversation. But there's information there. And I guess maybe that's, you know, we can just stop right there about how to enroll, perhaps, without getting too in depth, and let each individual college figure out who they want to contact, you know, because as you can see, it's all 20 something of our campuses, you know, because some of the students may just want to stay in Sellersburg area, you know, or near Richmond and go to IU Richmond or IU Southeast, so on and so forth. But and it does have the email address for bl-info@ivtech.edu. But, you know, again, that's just for the Bloomington campus. And if we want to be generic enough, I think what you've done so far is, I think it's decent enough.
Okay. Do you want me to add phone numbers there, or you feel like those websites are?
I was just going to say, if you want to put butler.edu/transfer, that's going to give them more specific transfer info.
Oh, that's big black letters. Okay. Ah! Come on. Okay. And just paste it in there. Okay.
Awesome.
The other thing I'm a little nervous about is like admitting people into this Google Meet. Like I have to recheck my settings of how I did that. But if I'm showing my screen and trying to welcome them in, I don't know. So what I need to do is view, present. So then that's what they'll see when they log in. And if I'm presenting and I go back to my Zoom screen, you still see my PowerPoint screen? You still may see Google Slides?
Emily's info is cut off at the bottom.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not seeing your whole page. I don't know if there's a way to extend that slide or the view, or
yeah, that's weird.
your logo is cut off.
Okay. What do you see there? Is that cut off?
Yes, partially. Yeah, the
Ah!
bottom.
All you can see is the
Bottom
Ivy Tech.
25% is missing, I would say. There you go.
Did
There you
that
go.
didn't?
That's it.
Okay.
Yep.
And now can you see your name too?
Yep, then it's
Now-
out there.
Okay, I was going to say that little toolbar that when you move off of it, it disappears. But when you touching the toolbar, it kind of covers up just a smidget, but it
Oh, yeah.
disappears within a second.
Okay. And can you, all right, so if I'm sharing my screen, that toolbar is always going to be in the way.
But it does disappear though, yeah.
Okay. I'll see if I can work on that.
Yeah, I think it disappears as soon as you kind of move your cursor off of it.
Up or down? There you go. Give it a second, maybe. There you go.
There it is.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do some like fake ones on the weekend from this account to see to see what happens, and log in from all my various 11 email addresses and see. Okay.
So Pam,
Anything else? Oh, go ahead.
so Pam, I think when you kind of click on the next slide, just kind of move the cursor up, you know, off that little toolbar, and then subsequently everything will it'll disappear.
There, that looks great.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, if I do it from my arrow instead of my trackpad.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Use
Yeah.
the arrow key. Yeah.
Okay, so now if I do if I just clicked on something, do you still see the Google Slides? Or
Yep.
do you see your?
I see the
I-
first
Yeah.
slide.
Yeah. It's the
Okay.
first slide. Mm-hmm.
Great. So then that will work. That means that I could let people in from the other screen while that is still on. Okay. Good. We'll just talk this fast right here. Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
You're just gonna, could I ask that you send this to me then, send it to us and I'll practice?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Make
Yes.
my notes, make my little handwritten notes and everything. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yes. And if I send it right through Google Slides, could you see it okay?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So if you click on that link that I sent yesterday, it should still,
It'll be updated.
yeah, the changes should all show
It'll
up.
be this. Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. I cannot thank you guys enough. This is so
Oh,
nice of you to give up all your time for people that you don't normally even work with, specifically high school counselors. So I know everyone will benefit from your great knowledge.
I'm always happy to have an audience. So it'll be great to, I know it's information that both Ferdinand and I know inside out. I think we can agree that our challenge will be keeping it to 30 minutes, kind of moving along through each slide. But yeah, I'm happy to share that info with a different audience. You know, typically I'm talking with students that are already prospective transfer students, occasionally the parents, but to be able to reach out to high school counselors and say, hey, if you have a student that either a current high school student or somebody who graduated and is returning to you, to say, what do I do about COVID? Well, here's an option, you know.
Sure.
That's great.
Okay, awesome. Well, if you think of anything in the meantime, definitely let me know, but I'll be in there early and everything, trying to get things set up on Tuesday. So just keep me updated.
Perfect. Sounds
right.
great.
Thank
Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, this amazing weather. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. I've
Yeah.
been in my house all day. I might step outside. We'll see.
Yes, do it. Okay, bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks, Sam.